This is the old building which used to be known as the Edinburgh House. I think I should delete that one. Do you want to taste this in one night?
It's not the one of it's not the one of Olga Peter.
Of course, Edinburgh House was built specially for young people. It was a new idea of a YMCA really, because the old idea of YMCA was semi-religious. But this was providing sports facilities, mainly sports facilities, I suppose.
They'd badminton and table tennis and weightlifting groups that all operated within the YMCA building here, and the table tennis and the badminton, like the football and cricket, they were in leagues and competitions.
Blackburn Rovers football team used to train in the gym at the YMCA because in those days, in the late 60s and early 70s, the gym was probably the best gym in Blackburn.
They had two big mirrors there where all the weightlifters used to stand there and do all this and fancy to sell and start, you know, and then if a muscle's not big enough, they start weightlifting for about 3 weeks to try and get it a bit bigger and then just try again, like, you know. When I reflect back, like it's hard to believe how big it were down in that cellar, you know. I mean, to say you got the number of people in, you know, I mean, you couldn't have put chairs and a ring and everything unless it were pretty big, you know.
The YMCA ran a very successful Saturday night roller skating session for young people, and the whole of the rest of the building was closed, and they just used the sports hall for the skating and the coffee bar lounge area.
The main guy when I was around was a wonderful man called Jack Brazier. And Jack Brazier worked hard for young people. He worked so hard that his work was recognised by the Queen, and he was given the MBE. And Jack was a very quiet sort of a guy, but had a great ability to persuade people to do things for and on behalf of young people.
Because he was a lovely man and commanded great respect. He was always dressed up and in a suit, and he was like the official face of the YMCA.
He was also a magistrate, and he nominated me as a magistrate, and he was very disappointed because it was turned down. I think it was turned down because they knew I was on very good terms with quite a number of naughty boys, criminals. It's going to be rather awkward to have a magistrate that was particularly friendly to criminals. But I love my criminals. Jack Brazier was very good at recruiting local businessmen who were very generous with their time and with their money. But the whole situation's changed now. The main problem, of course, was the money that was spent building Edinburgh House was not really sufficient, and that's why eventually the Southfield was sold in the hope that proceeds from that sale would clear the debt on Edinburgh House. It didn't.
It was a big problem because no one had maintained that building over many years, and the YMCA could not afford to maintain it in the future or repair it. The problem when you get that situation is that all the effort goes into trying to keep the door of the building open and pay the electricity bill and the cleaning bill and all the things and all the leaks to the roofs and things like that. And you don't really do much real work in youth work terms. And one thing I wanted to achieve was to close the building down, get rid of the problem, and then come to a smaller centre so we had some time to think. This is not the last place we'll be at, but it gave us time to think about what do we do now that is really meaningful and right for the young people.
There used to be, well there probably still is, the climber wall, and we used to go climbing. And I used to get stuck and somebody had to come and get me at the top.
My fondest memory of coming to this building was to come rock climbing with scouts, and that's because I didn't actually get to the top and I kept on falling off, and we just kept on like messing around, like pulling each other down and stuff like that.
Rightly or wrongly, I gained a reputation for dealing with difficult young people, and the local authorities tended to send them to me as a sort of last resort. If they wouldn't settle with me, then they would probably finish up in an approved school or something like that.
Yeah.
So we had very adventurous times. I rather enjoyed difficult young people, trying to provide the support that they should have had from their family but didn't. That's what was lacking in most cases. And the court decided to make him pay for it, so they fined him an amount they felt quite certain he wouldn't manage to pay, £75, which is a lot of money then.
Yeah.
And if he didn't pay, he would go to prison for a certain period. Well, he came to me and said, would I help him pay this fine? I said, oh, very nice. I said, you let yourself down, you let me down, you let your probation officer down, and you expect someone else to pay for the consequences. But I paid up, and he paid me back. Everyone said I shouldn't do it, but I did, and he paid me back, and that was the end. He never put a foot wrong. Schoolmaster said, when he saw him coming out of my hostel one day, he said, oh, you'll never do anything with him. And now he's in Australia, he's got a family, he's got a very nice house, and there's one or two like that.